Okay, so picture this. You're planting a flag, right? But it's not just any old flag planting ceremony. No, this is a place where like literally no human foot has ever stepped before. And to make it even crazier, you're doing this in a landscape that is brutally unforgiving. I'm talking temperatures that could like freeze you solid in an instant. Well, that was the reality for Matthew Henson, an African-American explorer born right after the Civil War. And we talk about entering a world in turmoil. And this wasn't a one-time thing for him either. This was his life. He basically made this kind of death-defying feat his normal pottery. And get this, it's widely believed he was actually the first person to reach the North Pole. So welcome to this deep dive, everyone. Today we're going to be navigating the extraordinary life and let's be honest, perilous Arctic explorations of Matthew Henson. And we're going right to the source for this one, using his own accounts to understand his remarkable journey. Our mission today isn't just to retell a story. It's to like really dig into the most compelling insights and even some surprising facts about Henson's life. You know, I think we often hear names and dates in history, but we don't always grasp the sheer force of personality and perseverance behind them. And that's especially true for Henson. What? He faced immense societal hurdles, being an African-American in that era, and still he achieved the unimaginable history. So by the end of this, we want you to really grasp the profound significance of his achievements and truly get the magnitude of the challenges he conquered.
You know, when you look at Henson's early life, what really jumps out at you is the incredible grit he developed. I mean, right from the start. Born in 1866, just after the Civil War, his family was right in the thick of it, experiencing the brutal reality of racial violence firsthand. They were actually forced to flee their farm in Maryland. Can you imagine the constant fear and uncertainty that must have defined his childhood? This wasn't just growing up. This was like a trial by fire that really forged his resilience.
Yeah, that level of early trauma, it's tough to even fathom. And it didn't stop there either. I mean, losing both parents by the age of 7, it's almost unimaginable for a child. That kind of loss can either completely break a person or it can forge this incredible self-reliance. And for Henson, it seems like it really ignited this powerful inner strength. I mean, think about this at just 11 years old, facing a future completely alone. He decides to run away to Washington, D.C. and get he walked 40 miles to get there. That wasn't just some kid being rebellious. That was a young person showing a profound determination to carve his own path, even if he didn't know exactly where he was going. What do you think it takes for someone that young to have that kind of inner compass?
That 40-mile walk, it's almost symbolic, isn't it? It wasn't just wandering around. It was a deliberate act, a way of claiming agency in a world that didn't offer much to a young, orphaned black boy. And Washington, D.C. back then, well, it would have been a whole other set of challenges. But he didn't just survive. He found ways to support himself. He worked in a cafe. And it's fascinating how these seemingly insignificant encounters can completely change the course of a life. You know, listening to sailors tell their captivating stories in that cafe, it wasn't just entertainment for him. It planted a seed, a yearning for adventure, for a world beyond his immediate circumstances. Have you ever had that? A story, a chance meeting that made you rethink what's possible?
Absolutely. And for Henson, those stories, they must have been an escape, a window into a life full of possibilities, so different from the harsh realities he was facing.
Right.
But he didn't just dream about it. By 12 years old, he'd somehow made his way to Baltimore and get this, he secured a job as a cabin boy. That's incredible initiative for someone so young. Suddenly, this boy who had faced so much loss and instability is out on the open sea, learning essential skills, navigation, reading, writing. It's like he instinctively knew he had to equip himself for a future he couldn't even imagine yet.
Exactly. And those early experiences at sea, they laid the groundwork for everything he achieved later on. He wasn't just there to work. He was absorbing knowledge, honing skills that would become crucial in the Arctic. And that brings us to his fateful meeting with Robert E. Peary. Now, these two men, they came from such different worlds, but they were united by this almost crazy ambition to reach the North Pole. What was it about Peary's vision, do you think, that resonated so deeply with Henson?
Crazy is a good word for it. We're talking about the late 19th, early 20th centuries. The Arctic was this huge mystery, this dangerous and mythical place that had defeated countless expeditions. Many had tried to reach the North Pole and failed, often tragically. So for Henson and Peary to dedicate themselves to this, not just once, but over 7 expeditions, it speaks to an almost obsessive level of commitment. Can you imagine facing those brutal Arctic conditions over and over again, temperatures plunging to minus 50 degrees Celsius, the constant threat of the ice shifting and breaking? It really pushes the limits of what we think humans can endure.
Absolutely. It's a testament to human endurance. And it was in those extreme conditions that Henson's unique skills became not just valuable, but essential. He wasn't just along for the ride, he was a crucial part of those expeditions. And his relationship with the Inuit people is particularly fascinating. He didn't treat them as just tools to achieve his goals, which was unfortunately common at the time. Instead, he learned their language, he learned their survival techniques, and he earned their respect. They even gave him a name, Mari Paluk, which means Matthew the Kind-Hearted. Do you think that was just a nickname, or did it reflect something deeper, a real integration into their community?
I think it definitely points to a deeper connection. In a world where Henson faced so much prejudice and discrimination, he found acceptance and even admiration among the Inuit. He mastered the skills that were essential for survival in the Arctic building and maintaining those specialized sleds, becoming an expert dog handler. And he was the bridge between Peary's team and the Inuit, whose knowledge of the Arctic was indispensable. His contributions went way beyond just physical labor. He was an intellectual and cultural asset to those expeditions.
And all that expertise, all those years of experience led to that final push to the pole in 1909. Imagine the pressure, the dwindling supplies, team members turning back, unable to face the conditions any longer. But Henson, he stayed by Peary's side. And the historical evidence suggests that Henson might have actually been the first to reach the geographic North Pole on April 6, 1909. Now, regardless of who stepped there first, their collective achievement under those circumstances is just extraordinary. Can you imagine that moment, reaching a goal that had seemed impossible for so long?
It's hard to even grasp that feeling standing at the top of the world, achieving something that had consumed years of your life. But then they returned, and the contrast is shocking and disturbing. Peary was instantly hailed as a hero, showered with awards and recognition. But Henson's contributions were minimized, ignored, all because of the deeply rooted racism of the time. It's a stark reminder of how powerful those societal biases were. Imagine achieving something so monumental and then facing that kind of dismissal just because of the color of your skin. The emotional impact must have been devastating.
It's a painful truth, even now, over a century later. Despite everything he did to help reach the North Pole, Henson was denied the recognition that was so readily given to his white counterpart. But what's inspiring is that he didn't let that silence him. He fought back against that injustice. He shared his story through his autobiography, through lectures. He made sure his role wasn't erased.
That's so powerful. He refused to be silenced. And thankfully, even though it took far too long, he did eventually get some of the recognition he deserved. Later in life, he received honors from presidents and fellow explorers. It was a belated acknowledgement of his extraordinary achievements, but still an important one. It shows the enduring power of truth and how, even though it's slow, societal understanding can shift.
Henson's life, when you look at the whole picture, it speaks to so much about the human experience. The power of perseverance in the face of unimaginable challenges, the resilience of the human spirit to not just survive, but thrive even after profound loss and hardship, and the stark reality of societal barriers, the struggle for equality against deeply ingrained prejudice.
So as you're listening to this, think about the insurmountable mountains you might be facing in your own life. The Arctic wastes of doubt or fear that seem impossible to cross, Henson's story, isn't just history. It's a challenge to the limits we set for ourselves. What are we truly capable of if we have that same unwavering determination and resilience?
Exactly. And if we think even bigger, Henson's legacy goes beyond his personal achievements. He expanded what we thought was possible. He pushed the boundaries of human exploration and endurance. His life shows us that true greatness isn't about social status or where you come from. It's about the strength of your character, the unwavering pursuit of your goals.
And that spirit of exploration, it doesn't have to be about literal geographic poles. Think about the frontiers in your own life, a new skill you want to learn, a project you want to tackle, a different way of seeing the world. There's a quote often attributed to Henson that captures this perfectly. He said, "The lure of the Arctic is tugging at my heart. To me, the trail is calling, the old trail, the trail that is always new. So what trail is calling to you right now? What undiscovered territory in your own life is waiting for you to explore?"
That's such an important question for all of us. Henson's journey, with all its incredible triumphs and heartbreaking injustices, ultimately shows us the extraordinary potential that's inside every single person. Obstacles, whether it's physical challenges or societal biases that can be overcome, it takes unwavering determination and a refusal to be limited by what others think you can do.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the remarkable life of Matthew Henson, let's remember his central message.
His life was a powerful demonstration of the extraordinary power of perseverance and the potential that resides within every one of us, no matter what obstacles we face.
And one final thought for you to consider. What's your North Pole? What's that seemingly unreachable goal, that incredibly challenging endeavor in your life? Henson's journey wasn't just about reaching a specific point on a map. It was about the relentless pursuit of what's possible, even when the odds are stacked against you. So what's your pursuit, and what one brave step can you take towards it today?